Good morning, everyone, especially to Attorney Borcao. Good morning, ma'am. I am Shana Mortos Delicia from Block 2, and I am assigned to discuss and recite Sections 14, 15, and 16 of Rule 119 in a brief and comprehensive manner. So first, let us discuss what is Section 14. So, bail to secure appearance of witness material. So, as the law, when the court is satisfied upon proof or oath that a material person will not testify when required, it may, upon motion of either party, order the witness to post bail in such sum as may be deemed proper. So, upon the refusal to post bail, the court shall commit him to prison until he complies or is legally discharged after his testimony has been taken. So, these provisions allow the court to order the release of a person in custody as a material witness, provided that there are certain conditions that should met. First is the application for release. So, the witness or any person on their behalf may apply for the release of the witness by posting a bail. So, what is the purpose of a bail? So, the bail is intended to secure the witness appearance at the trial or hearing until their testimony is completed or their presence has no longer required. So, if the witness or the person fails to appear as required, the bail may be forfeited or may be lost, and further legal conditions or consequences may follow. So, when we go back to Section 14, it stated that the court shall commit him to prison until he complies or legally discharged after his testimony. So, there are certain consequences or conditions if the witness fails to appear as required. So, these provisions aim to balance the need for witness testimony and legal proceedings with ensuring that their appearance through appropriate measures like the bail. Next is Section 15, Examination of Witness for the Prosecution. This section discusses the procedure of examining witness for the prosecution when they are unable to appear in court due to sickness, infirmity, or leaving the country without a definite return date. In such cases, the witness can be immediately or conditionally examined before the court where the case is pending or being tried. This examination is conducted in the presence of the accused, or if the accused is not present, they must give a reasonable notice to attend. If the accused fail or refuse to attend that examination, the waiver must be given to the accused. The statement during this examination can be used as evidence either or against the accused before or during the trial. So this is Section 15, Examination of Witness for the Prosecution. And now let us proceed to Section 16, the last section assigned to me, Trials of Several Accused. When two or more accused are jointly charged with an offense, they shall be tried jointly unless the court, in its discretion or upon motion of the prosecutor or any accused, ordered separate trial for one or more accused. So when we talk about several accused, we are referring to two or more persons accused in such crime. And if there are two or more accused, of course, they shall be tried jointly, as the law said. But this is the hard situation because the unfair trial could arise. That's why this section also said that the court allows separate trials for co-accused that a defendant or the prosecution have fair trials. So why court considered the separate trials? The answer is because it may result prejudice such as the danger that the evidence admissible against one defendant may be used or may be considered against the others despite being inadmissible under the rules of evidence. So it is important to have a separate trials according to this section because um, the unfair trials could possibly arise. So this is the Section 16 trial of several accused. And that's all our discussion for today. Section 14, bail to secure appearance of a material witness. Section 15, examination of witness for the prosecution. Section 16, trial of several accused. I hope you learned a lot of knowledge about those sections. And thank you and God bless.
Good day everyone, my name is Marilyn Fisarit Gadon and I am going to report the Rule 119, which is the trial, the Section 14, bail to secure appearance of material witness, Section 15, examination of witness for the prosecution, and the last, the Section 16, trial of several accused. Section 14, bail to secure appearance of material witness. When the court is satisfied upon proof or oath that a material witness will not testify, or when required it may upon motion of either party or the witness to post bail in such sum as may be deemed proper, upon refusal to post bail, the court shall commit him to prison until he complies or legally discharged after his testimony has been taken. So this section of the law means that if a court believes a witness who is very important to a case might not show up to testify when needed, the court can ask this witness to pay a certain amount of money as a guarantee that they will come back to testify. This money is called bail. If the witness doesn't want to pay the bail, then the court can send them to jail until they agree to testify or until they are allowed to leave jail after giving their testimony. It is a way to make sure that the important witness will actually show up and share what they know in the court. Section 15, examination of witness for the prosecution. When it is satisfactorily appears that a witness for the prosecution is too sick or infirm to affirm at the trial as directed by the court, or has to leave the Philippines with no definite date of returning, he may forthwith be conditionally examined before the court where the case is pending. Such examination in the presence of the accused or in his absence after reasonable notice to attend the examination has been served on him shall be conducted in the same manner as an examination of the trial. Failure or refusal of the accused to attend the examination after notice shall be considered a waiver. The statement taken may be admitted in behalf of or against the accused. So, this section means that if a person who is supposed to testify for the court in a trial can come to court because they are too weak, too sick, or they need to leave the country with no set plan to come back, they can be asked to give their testimony earlier than the schedule. This early testimony happened in court and it should take place where the trial is set to happen. The accused, so the person, the one being tried, has the right to be there when this early testimony is given. If the accused is told about this early testimony but chooses not to come, it's as if they're saying that they're okay with not being there, and this is called a waiver. Whatever the witness says during early testimony can be later used in the trial either to support or to go against the accused person. So, the last section that I will be report is the section 16, which is the trial of several accused. So, when two or more accused are jointly charged with an offense, they shall be tried jointly unless the court in its discretion and upon motion of the prosecutor or any accused orders separate trial for one or more accused. So this section means if two or more people are accused of the same crime, they usually have their trial together at the same time. However, if the court thinks it is a good idea, or if the person prosecuting the case or any of the accused people ask for it, the court can decide to have separate trial for one or more of the accused. This decision is up to the court's judgment on what is the best for the case.
So, Section 14, bail to secure appearance of material witness. When the court is satisfied upon proof or oath that the material witness will not testify when required, it may, upon motions of either party, order the witness to post bail, such as some as may be deemed proper. Upon refusal to post bail, the court shall commit him to prison until he complies or is legally discharged after his testimony has been taken. So, Section 14 or Rule 119 is the Criminal Procedure Code, deals with the provisions of bail to secure the appearance of a material witness. So let's discuss this section in easy to understand manner. So when the court is satisfied based on the proof or oath that a material witness will not testify when required, it has the authority to order the witness post bail. This bail serve as a guarantee or security to ensure that the witness will appear in court and provide their testimony as necessary. So the court can make these decisions upon the motions of either party involved. In the case, the amount of the bail required will be determined by the court considering the circumstances and the importance of the witness testimony. So the purpose of this provision is to ensure that the crucial witness do not evade their responsibility to testify and to maintain the integrity of trial process. So if the witness refuses to post the required bail, the court may choose to commit the witness to custody until their testimony is given or until they comply with the bail order. It is important to note that the court will only order bail for material witness when there is sufficient evidence or sworn testimony to support the beliefs that the witness will not testify when required. Section 15, examinations of a witness for the prosecution. When it satisfactorily appears that a witness for the prosecution is too sick or infirm to appear at the trial court as directed by the order of the court, or has to leave the Philippines with no definite date of returning, he may forthwith be conditionally examined before the court where the case is pending. Such examinations in the presence of the accused or in his absence after reasonable notice to attend the examinations has been served on him shall be conducted in the same manner as an examination at the trial. Failure or refusal of the accused to attend the examinations after notice shall be considered as waiver. The statement taken may be admitted in behalf of or against the accused. So when conducting a criminal trial, the prosecution present witness to provide evidence against the accused. However, there are circumstances where a witness may be unable to attend the trial, such as due to illness or being out of the country. So, in such case, Section 15 allows for conditional examinations of this witness. This means that the court can permit the witness to be examined in advance. Before the trial takes place, the purpose of this examination is to ensure that the witness testimony is preserved and can still be presented in court, even if it cannot be physically attend the trial. So, by conducting a conditional examination, the prosecutions can record the witness testimony and present it as evidence during the trial. This helps to prevent the loss of the importance of testimony and ensure that all relevant evidence is presented even if the witness is unable to testify in person. So in the summary of Section 15 of Rule 119 allows for the conditional examinations of witness for the prosecution, ensuring that their testimony is preserved and can be presented in court even if they cannot attend the trial. Section 16. Trial of several accused. When two or more accused are jointly charged with any offense, they shall be tried jointly unless the court, in its discretions and upon motions of the prosecutor or any accused, order separate trial for one or more accused. Section 16 of Rule 1019 in the Criminal Procedure Code pertains to the trial of several accused. Here is the concise and complete explanation. During a criminal trial, when the multiple individuals are accused in the same case, Section 16 ensured that their right to a fair trial are upheld. First, right to be present and defend. Each accused person has the right to be present and to personally defend themselves or be represented by legal counsel at every stage of the proceeding, from arrangement to promulgations of the judgment. This means that the accused individual have opportunity to participate activity in their defense throughout the trial process. Second, mandatory presence and trial for identification purposes. So, the presence of the accused is mandatory during the arrangement, where the charge are formally read to them and they entered their plea. Additionally, the accused may be required to be present during the trial if their presence is necessary for identification purposes. So this ensures that the accused can directly confront. This ensures that the accused can directly confront their witness and evidence presented against them. So the purpose of this section 16 is to safeguard the right of the accused and ensure a fair trial for each individual involved in the case. It guarantees their presence during critical stage of the trial and allow them to actively participate in their defense.
So, good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Mela Vigi Gilibo and I am going to report the section 14, 15 to 16 of Rule 119. So, first is the section 14. So, it is the bail to secure appearance of material witness. So, when the court is satisfied upon the proof of oath that a material witness will not testify when required, it may, upon motion of either party, order the witness to post bail in such sum as may be deemed proper. Upon refusal to post bail, the court shall commit him to prison until he complies or is legally discharged after his testimony has been taken. So, it seems that prosecution here is under the mercy of his witnesses. So, meaning, kung ayaw ng testigo, wala kang magagawa. But under section 14, you can ask the court to order the witness to post bail. And if he refuses to post bail, he can be arrested. Then this is an instance where a witness can be jailed ahead of the accused. So, but actually the truth is, in the most cases, prosecution witnesses do not appear not because ayaw, but because takot. They are afraid of what will happen, like the accused might harass them. And the law knows that. That is why there is also another alternative, which is we call the RA 6981 or the Witness Protection Program, which took effect on April of 1991, last April of 1991. Next is section 15, which is the examination of witness for the prosecution. When it is satisfactorily appeared that a witness for the prosecution is too sick or infirm to appear at the trial as directed by the court, or has to leave the Philippines with no definite date or returning, he may be forthwith with the conditionally examined before the court, where the case is pending. Such examination, in the presence of the accused or in his absence, after reasonable notice to attend the examination has been served on him, shall be conducted in the same manner as an examination at the trial. So, failure or refusal of the accused to attend the examination at the trial. Failure or refusal of the accused to attend at the examination after notice shall be considered a waiver. The statement taken may be admitted in behalf of or against the accused. So, let us try to compare Section 13, which is defense, and Section 15, the prosecution. Let's go to the defense witness under Section 13. So, the question, before whom will be the examination of the witness be taken? So, the answer is, it depends. Before the judge, or if not practicable, a member of the bar in good standing designated by the judge in the order. Now, you compare that with Section 15. In Section 15, you will notice he may be forthwith be conditionally examined before the court where the case is pending. Unlike in Section 13, before the judge, or if not practicable, a member of the bar in good standing, it is more like lenient, no? So the question, what is the reason why the law is more generous to the defense witness? So according to the one case through Justice Feria, is because the government has the resources to get the testimony of his witnesses. Pero ang defense may have a hard time, lalo na kapag pobre. Lastly, the Section 16, the trial of several accused. When two or more accused are jointly charged with an offense, they shall be tried jointly unless the court, in its discretion and upon motion of the prosecutor or any accused, order separate trial for one or more accused. So remember that they can be joint trial of two or more. There can be a joint trial of two or more criminal cases if they arose of the same incident, like Judy fired her AK-47 and killed two or more people, one after the other. But you cannot file one information because that will be duplicitous. So there must be one information for every one homicide, and then you move for a joint trial. So the question, now, how do you compare this rule with civil cases? Answer, in civil cases, when there is a common question of fact or law involving two or more parties, there is such a thing as filing only one complaint. Joinder of causes of action parties. But in criminal cases, that is not allowed. Consolidation in criminal cases in only for the purpose of joint trial lang. And you cannot have an information you cannot have an information charging more than one offense.